Good afternoon. As we said in my notes that introduced this, we are talking about a brand new play premiering in Midland in February. So we are here talking to the director, Chad William Baker, and the dramaturg, if I'm pronouncing that right.
That's right.
Kathy Pingel. We've got a lot to cover here because it's a brand new play that the American Association of Community Theaters awards every year, and this one says 2022, so apparently it's ahead of itself. And then they provide the playwright to come out and any support they need. So where to start with this is a good question. It's called
Go ahead. MLM is for murder or your side hustle is killing me.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, MLM stands for multi-level marketing, which is like a pyramid scheme. Think Amway, think LuLaRoe, that sort of thing. And just for clarification, the American Association of Community Theater does a new play festival every year, and 6 theaters are chosen to be producing companies. And the reason this is a coveted prize is because each of these plays that's chosen by the theater, each of 6 theaters, gets published by Dramatic Publishing.
Right.
So the cast and the director and the production team all get listed in the front of the production as the originating cast.
So is it 6 different plays that are chosen every year? Or
yes, 6 different shows.
Okay.
And this year it's, we're ranging all over the United States from Texas to Louisiana to Michigan. And
how many plays are entered?
About 320.
Okay. So that's 6 out of 320. Okay, Chad, you've got a long history of directing in the mid-Michigan area, 10 shows so far, as well as some acting in a ton of them. What's it like to premiere something for the very first time? You have no reference. What's it like?
It's been really cool so far. Just to meet, I was a little familiar with John. John Bavoso is the playwright. He has a few plays that are on a website called New Play Exchange.
Okay.
I've read a few of his other plays. He has a few 10-minute plays that I've read. We actually spoke the end of last week. So I was aware of a few of his plays, but I had never read this one. So to read something that was brand new and was such a cool idea, the combination of these MLMs and murder podcasts and things combined together is a very interesting idea. It's very funny. His humor is my humor. For those who know me, I have a very kind of dark comedy humor, I guess, and that's definitely what this play has. So it was very cool to agree to do this play and then to read it and realize that it fits what I love so much. That's been really cool so far.
So have you already gotten in your mind how to direct it?
Yeah, we've been in we've had a few conversations. Travis Kendrick, who is the new managing director at the center, we've met a few times. I've met with Evan Lewis, the set designer, and J.R. Borneman, who's doing lights. We've come up with a few ideas, and also have left ourselves open. Obviously, John will be visiting us shortly after we start rehearsals to meet with us and have a reading with the cast. So we're very open to discovering new things once we cast the show and have everyone sort of working on it together.
So both of you tell me, well, I guess Kathy more than Chad, Kathy, you will come to Midland, the playwright will come to Midland. What's kind of the process there, and when do you come and what do you do?
Good, that's a very good question. So as dramaturg, I'm there to help bring the play along and to help the communication between the theater and the playwright. So when John and I come, it'll be about 3 weeks into Midland's process, and they will have the play, what we say, up and on its feet. So it'll be blocked and character decisions will be made, and we'll show the playwright what his play looks like in the rough. And at that point in time, the actors can ask of the playwright, hey, this line is a little awkward for me to say. Can we rewrite it some? Or maybe we need a different bridge from this scene into that scene. So it's still a time of rewriting. And that's the reason why we do it 3 weeks out.
Okay.
So
and
that,
how long do you stay then, both of you?
we stay for 3 days.
Oh, you can do all that in 3 days.
Yeah, you can do all that in 3 days. And then we'll come back again, of course, for the opening. And then there'll be rewrites based on how the audience responds to it as well. So for the most part, I'm John's editor, and I'm the liaison between the theater and the playwright.
Okay. Who gets to say on the rewrites?
Very good question. And Chad and I have already talked about this, so it's no big surprise. Chad can ask anything of John that he wishes, any rewrites that he wishes, but John has the final say so.
Okay, I figured,
so we figured John is the best steward of his own work.
Yep.
And so if John says no, then it's up to Chad and his company to make it work. Okay. Now the reverse is actually true. So John can ask for changes in regards to Chad's work, and Chad is beholden to do his level best, but he also is the best steward. He's also the best steward of his own vision. And so that's why I'm there, just to make sure that everybody's expectations are met, and to help clarify. My background is in editing, but I'm also a director. So
I need to read your credits before we go any further. That'll take about an hour.
No, that's okay.
So for 10 years, you were the director of education and youth programming at Des Moines Playhouse. You have been an adjudicator for ACT, the American Association, all over, from local to international. And you have directed and taught in 6 states, Michigan included, and more. Okay? So what is I know what a dramaturg is, but our listeners might not.
Okay, well, traditionally a dramaturg is to help to give context for the play. So a dramaturg would maybe give historical context, or describe the political climate of the time, or how manners are different. In this case, I did a dramaturgical study for Chad that basically follows the history of MLMs, how they came into existence. But I also did a psychological dramaturgy, which is more of the internal life of the characters. So we haven't talked about the characters yet. There's a young woman who's drawn into the world of MLM, and there's a former friend who is a wannabe podcaster, and she wants to podcast about female murderers. And so the psychological dramaturgy goes into how somebody can be sucked into an MLM, even though on the outside there are those of us who think, how could anybody fall for that kind of thing?
Right.
How can you get sucked into it? Who gets sucked into it and why? And then also, there are many, many differences between these two women. They're very, very different from one another. But what are their similarities? Because that's what theater is all about. It's that tug of war between that which makes us different, but that which makes us the same. So he's got a whole lot of background information, but it's kind of to flesh in the world of the play, I guess, internally and externally.
So the playwright doesn't do that. That's what you do.
Well, the playwright gives us the text, and then I go from there. Right. Okay. So I'll do a rabbit hole study on MLMs, but I also have a couple of social psychologists that I consult with, so that they can. So I'm not making up the psychology as I go.
Okay. And then you share that with Chad and the cast and all of that. Okay.
Right.
Fun. Have you done quite a bit of that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I am taking that this play has never even really been read out loud, or
no. John has actually done several readings of it.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
With other casts, but it's never been performed. This is a world premiere. This is the first time it's gotten all of its bells and whistles.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. So what's the challenge for you? I asked Chad what the challenge for him was. What's the challenge for you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I just thoroughly enjoy this process. If
Okay.
there's any challenge at all, it's going to be to get to northern Michigan in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a smart move. So I was going to say a little bit about the playwright too that I looked up. He's based in apparently Washington, D.C.
Right.
He also reviews plays. He's had plays produced in like 24 states and internationally, and I counted around 20 plays from very short ones to full length. So he's certainly been around, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, the winner of the current one. Does that have a monetary prize too?
You know what? I should know that, but I don't. I know the theater gets a bit of a booster shot from the Ayers Foundation, which supports the whole process. I'm not sure if there's a monetary prize for the playwright, but the big thing that playwrights have reflected back to me is that their play gets published. And so a lot of contests will reward a reading or even a production, but to guarantee that your play is going to be published, that's the big deal.
That's the biggie, isn't it? Yeah. So Chad, do you know why the center was picked? Did the center apply for this?
Yes, I believe, and I think Kathy can speak to this too. The center applied, and then once they were chosen, they became part of the reading of those scripts. So they were able to choose which script they wanted.
Oh, you
to
chose
produce.
the script? Okay. Oh, that's.
I didn't personally, but I know the
center did. Yeah.
Once they're chosen, gets the choice of the script that they produce.
Out of the 320 plays, it's winnowed down to 16, and then between 12 and 16. I think this year there were 13. So 13 titles went to each of the 6 producing theaters, and they chose which one they wanted. And MLM Is for Murder, or Your Side Hustle Is Killing Me, by John Bovoso was Midland Center for the Arts #1 choice.
Okay. So the other ones that don't. So you pick apparently 6 theaters every year type thing. Yeah. Okay. And is this a yearly thing?
It's every 2 years. Every 2
years. Wow, that makes it even more difficult, doesn't it? Do either of you know, because I know that how many plays are written every year? What is the success? Let's go back to Chicago or something. What is the success rate of all the plays written that they become something that is produced and wins awards? Is there a rate there? We don't know, do we? And then, like you said, the difference is getting published too.
Right. I mean, my experience is that it's tip of the iceberg kind of thing, because even the plays that get published are not necessarily ones that get performed often enough to stay in the zeitgeist. So I worked on a play a while ago called Girls Weekend, and in and amongst all the other plays that I worked on that year, it was the only one published that went on to get widely produced.
Wow. Yep. So Chad, tell us a little bit about when auditions are, how many characters, and what you're looking for.
So auditions are next week, Tuesday the 14th and Wednesday the 15th, from 7 to 9 p.m. There are 5 characters in the show. The 2 main characters are Minerva and Felicity, who are kind of our 2 high school friends. And then there are the roles of Sienna, who is Minerva's wife, and Jason, who is Felicity's husband. And then there is one extra, and she's just called Woman in the script. She plays everyone else. She plays Minerva's coworker. She plays a professor that Sienna works with. She plays the founder of the company that Felicity works for. So she plays a number of smaller roles throughout the show. And then Minerva, Felicity, Jason, Sienna are all late 20s, early 40s. Minerva is a woman of color. Sienna can be a woman of any race, and then Felicity and Jason are white. They are a Mormon couple.
Oh, okay. And this is set contemporary, so we're not dealing with, because obviously it's happening now.
Yes.
And then the production dates looks like are February 25, 27. So it's not a full 2 week, like normally Midland does 2 weeks of
Yes, just one weekend.
So, Kathy, does someone film this too? So, no, they do not. Okay. So we just hope that it's good and gets published and all that stuff.
Well,
Okay.
we always say God willing and the creek don't rise. The last cycle actually just finished in the fall because we had 4 productions that were finished and then 2 got cut off by COVID.
Oh boy.
So but all the companies and all the actors stuck with it. So it's a compelling program, I should say.
Okay. So either one of you, if you've got any further comments, or why should people see this show, Chad?
I think, for people auditioning, I think it's a great opportunity. I've never worked alongside the playwright before.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. I've met John. He's a great guy. He's very funny. He's very open to working on this play. So that's really exciting just for anyone who has never had that experience before. I'm going to be learning right along with them. So that's really fun. And the show itself is very funny. It's very funny. It's fortuitous that he wrote a show that deals with MLMs and murder podcasts, because I think that's sort of what everyone is talking about these days. And I think he combines it together in such a clever and funny way that it's a great show.
And
So
I would say,
go ahead.
I was going to say, and the reason I think it's important to come is that because it is such a collaborative effort, there is true electricity in the room.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're walking into a world premiere, you're seeing something no one has seen before.
Yeah.
It's
right.
it's kind of it's a heart stopper.
Yeah. And so, Chad, you would call it a dark comedy, a black comedy? What do we kind of?
Yeah, I would say it's a dark comedic satire.
Oh God, okay.
I'll go with that. Because there's definitely some.
Right, but for me, this is one of the plays that I laughed out loud about just reading it. So it's not dark comedy in terms of it's more like,
yes.
Well, I didn't think they would go there, but they went. It's bold. It's bold.
Okay,
yes.
good.
And I think there are definitely some very dramatic moments between these couples and real moments between these couples, which I think is where the best comedy comes from. It's all such real things happening between these two couples.
Truth. Yeah, it has to have truth. Okay, again, it is a MLM Is for Murder. Auditions next week and production is February 25, 27. So I thank you for your time and good luck with the process.
Thank you very
much,
much,
Janet. And hey, Chad, good to see you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.